My daughter said, "You ruined my life with your rules." I replied, "Sure." Then I withdrew her allowance, reclaimed her car, and changed the Wi-Fi password. 2 days later, she was knocking desperately on my door. I, 48 male, am a single father to my daughter Jessica, 17. Her mother, Susan, and I divorced about a decade ago. It was messy. The short version is that we have fundamentally different views on life, responsibility, and what it means to raise a child. I got primary custody. I've always believed in providing a stable, loving environment built on mutual respect and clear boundaries. I'm not a rich man, but I do okay. I've worked hard to give Jessica a life far better than the one I had. She has a nice bedroom, a closet full of clothes, the latest iPhone on my family plan, and a monthly allowance of $400 that goes directly into her debit account. For her 17th birthday, I bought her a car. A clean, used Honda Civic. It's in my name, and I cover the insurance and gas. All I ask for in return are 3 things. Maintain a B average in school. Help with basic household chores, her own laundry, dishes after dinner, keeping her bathroom clean. A curfew of 11 p.m. on weeknights and 1 a.m. on weekends. These are not, in my opinion, the rules of a tyrant. They are the baseline for living in a shared space and preparing for the real world. For the past year, things have been slipping. Her grades dipped to a C, the chores became a constant battle, and the curfew was treated as a vague suggestion. Every attempt at a conversation devolved into a fight. She'd spend most of the time texting, presumably with Susan, who has always positioned herself as the cool mom and me as the warden. The breaking point came last Tuesday. I got an email from her history teacher about a major project she hadn't turned in. When I brought it up, she was sitting on the sofa, scrolling through TikTok. "Jessica, we need to talk about this email." She didn't look up. "K. This project is 30% of your grade. Your teacher says you haven't even started." She finally locked her phone and glared at me. "OMG, I'll do it. It's not a big deal." "It is a big deal. This, plus your other grades, and the fact that you blew off your curfew by 2 hours last Saturday, these are issues. We have rules for a reason." And then she said it, the words that felt like a switch flipping in my head. She stood up, her face twisted with a kind of theatrical rage I'd only ever seen in movies. "My God. Your rules. That's all you care about. You have ruined my entire life with your stupid, pointless rules. I hate it here. I can't do anything or go anywhere. All my friends have parents who actually trust them." I just stood there for a moment. All the years of packed lunches, late-night pickups, helping with homework, paying for everything, all of it just evaporated. There was no argument left in me, no desire to plead my case. I was just done. I looked at her, my voice quieter than I've ever heard it. "Sure." She blinked, surprised by my lack of fight. "What? You're right. Your life, your choices. If my rules are ruining your life, then you shouldn't have to live with them, or with the things those rules provide." I walked to the little key rack by the door and took the key to the Civic off her sparkly unicorn keychain. I dropped it into my own pocket. Her jaw fell open. "What are you doing?" "My car, my rules. You don't like the rules, you don't get the car." I then picked up my phone, opened my banking app, and canceled her recurring $400 allowance. I showed her the confirmation screen. My money, my rules. I walked over to the router in the hallway and unplugged it. "I'll be changing the Wi-Fi password, my internet, my rules." I went to my office and shut the door. I could hear her screaming, calling me insane, a psycho. Then, a door slammed and I heard the Civic, ironically, fire up in the driveway. I glanced out the window and saw her peel out. I sighed. I knew she had a spare key hidden somewhere. That was fine. I'd deal with that tomorrow. About 30 minutes later, my phone buzzed incessantly. It was Susan. I let it go to voicemail. The message was exactly what you'd expect. A screeching tirade about how I was a monster engaging in financial abuse. Jessica didn't come home that night, or the next day. I knew she was at her mom's. I spent the evening in a quiet house, feeling a strange mix of grief and calm. The next morning I called a towing service and had the Civic brought back from Susan's street and parked in my garage. I then called my mobile provider and had Jessica's line downgraded. No more unlimited data. Just basic talk and text, for safety. That brings us to tonight, 2 days after the blow-up. Around 8 p.m., there was a knock on the door. Not a normal knock. It was fast, insistent, desperate. I opened it to find Jessica standing there, shivering slightly. She wasn't crying. She just looked furious. "I need the Wi-Fi password," she said, not as a request but a demand. My paper is due tomorrow, and I can't use all of Mom's hotspot data. I just looked at her. The public library is open for another hour. They have free internet. Her eyes narrowed. Are you serious? I'm not going to the library like some homeless person. Just give me the password, Dad. No, Jessica. Then I need the car. My friends are going out and Mom's husband won't let me use their car because he's a jerk. I'm sorry to hear that. You don't have a car anymore. This is insane. You can't just do this. She shrieked, her voice cracking. You're my father. You're supposed to provide for me. I am. There is a roof over your head right here. There is food in the fridge. Your bed is made. You are welcome to all of it as long as you follow the rules of this house. But the extras, the privileges, those are earned. You said I ruined your life, so I've given you your life back, free of my rules and their benefits. This is what you wanted. She just stared at me, speechless with rage. Then she turned and stomped away, pulling out her phone, probably to summon her mother. I just closed the door, leaned against it, and let out a long, slow breath. I don't know what happens next, but it feels like the beginning of a whole new war. Ada? I don't even care anymore. Update 1. Well, it's been a week. Thanks for the support. It means more than you know. The war I predicted has arrived, and it's a bureaucratic nightmare. A couple of hours after Jessica stormed off, Susan's car pulled up. She didn't try to enter. She laid on the horn until I came to the door. She stood on my porch and let loose a furious theatrical performance for the whole neighborhood. The conversation was pointless. How dare you cut her off? She's a child. Me, she's a 17-year-old who needs to learn that actions have consequences. You took her car. How is she supposed to get to school? To her job? What job? She told me last month she quit her weekend gig at the bookstore. Susan's face faltered for a second. Turns out, Jessica had been lying to both of us. She'd been telling her mom she was at her job when she was out with friends, and using the job as an excuse to demand gas money from me. A chillingly seamless lie. This isn't just teen rebellion. This is calculated. The porch-side screaming match ended with Susan yelling that I was an unfit father and that she would be taking me back to court. Jessica will be living with me. Get ready to pay, you cheap bastard. I just said, okay, Susan, which seemed to infuriate her more than any shouting match could have. The next escalation came from the school. I got a call from the guidance counselor, Ms. Barbara. She sounded very concerned and asked if I could come in for a meeting with Susan and Jessica next week. Apparently, Jessica had gone to her in tears, claiming I had a volatile temper and had kicked her out. Susan had followed up with her own call backing the story. They were building their narrative. This time, I didn't just get sad. I got strategic. The meeting being a week away was a gift. It gave me time. I wasn't going to walk in there and lose a he said, she said argument. So I started my project. It was a slog. I spent 3 nights glued to my laptop. I logged into my online banking portal and downloaded 3 years of statements, highlighting every $400 allowance transfer and every extra Venmo. I created a spreadsheet. I dug through my filing cabinet for the car insurance paperwork and a thick folder of receipts for tires and repairs. I downloaded a year's worth of itemized phone bills. It was tedious, but with every document, I felt my resolve harden. This wasn't about being angry. It was about presenting the truth so plainly it couldn't be denied. As for the car, I listed it for sale online that weekend. The immediate flood of lowball offers and "is this available?" messages that were never answered was maddening. It reminded me that nothing in life is as easy as it seems. I had a brief moment of weakness last night, looking at a photo of Jessica from when she was 10. That goofy, missing teeth smile. My heart ached. I almost picked up the phone, but then I looked at the spreadsheet on my screen, a cold, hard ledger of my love and her entitlement. This isn't just about a messy room. This is about her future. Giving in now wouldn't be saving her. It would be co-signing her path to a bitter, manipulative life. So the meeting is next week. I'm not going in hot. I'm going in with a file folder and the quiet confidence of a man who has done his homework. Update 2. The meeting with Ms. Barbara is over. It went about as expected. I walked into her office. Susan and Jessica were already there, in full victim and savior mode. Jessica looked down while Susan gave me a smug, pitying look. Miss Barbara started, all gentle tones, relaying their story. My supposed rage, the unfairness of the rules, how I'd thrown Jessica out. Susan added her commentary about my pattern of financial control. I let them finish. When Miss Barbara turned to me and asked for my response, I simply opened my file folder. "I'd like to provide some context," I said calmly. I passed her the teacher's email, the list of house rules, and then the financial spreadsheet. "Here is a detailed accounting of the controls Susan mentioned. As you can see, it amounts to over $9,000 in non-essential support in the last 12 months. This is the cost of the privileges my daughter believes she is entitled to." Miss Barbara's eyes widened as she scanned the documents. Jessica refused to look. "And regarding the car," I continued, "it was a privilege. I found out Jessica was lying about having a job to use it. When she chose to leave my home, the privilege was revoked. I'm in the process of selling it now. I have a serious buyer coming this evening." Jessica's head snapped up. "You're selling it?" "Yes," I said, looking directly at her. "It's my car." The color drained from her face. Susan sputtered. "You did that to spite her. That was her car." "Was her name on the title, Susan? Or did I pay for it, the insurance and the gas?" Miss Barbara looked at them, and her professional neutrality became very crisp. She didn't take my side, not explicitly. She didn't say, "David is right." She looked at the file, then at them, and her tone shifted. "Well," she said, her voice carefully measured, "there are some significant discrepancies between the concerns Jessica raised and the documentation David has provided." "Jessica, is it true you lied about having a job?" Jessica mumbled. "Everyone stretches the truth sometimes." The final piece was the phone log printout showing the 17 calls between their phones on the day of the fight. "This was not a spontaneous outburst," I said. "It was a planned departure." Miss Barbara leaned back, her therapeutic expression gone. "This is clearly a deeply fractured family dynamic. It's far beyond the scope of a school counselor. My professional recommendation is for immediate, structured family therapy to address these issues of communication and accountability." I immediately said, "I'm willing to participate." Susan scoffed. "Therapy? He's the one who needs therapy. We don't need a stranger to tell us that he's the problem." And that was that. The meeting ended. Susan dragged Jessica out. I didn't get an apology, but I got something better. The truth, documented and delivered. The narrative they tried to build had crumbled. I went home and sold the Civic that evening to the young man who came to see it. He was respectful and paid my asking price. Handing over the keys felt like closing a door, final and necessary. I feel empty, but clear. Final update. Hello everyone. It's been a while. This is the last update. The chapter is finally closed. Susan, true to her word, took me to court. It took nearly 5 months of legal wrangling, paperwork, and delays. It was a miserable, soul-crushing process. She filed for an emergency modification of custody and demanded a significant increase in child support, retroactive to the day Jessica moved in. Her petition was filled with the same tired lies. This time, I was ready. I hired a sharp lawyer who loved my file folder. He warned me that family court is unpredictable and that a win isn't always what you think it is. The day in court was surreal. Susan's lawyer painted me as a cold, vindictive father. They demanded $1,500 a month and retroactive payments. When it was our turn, my lawyer systematically presented the evidence. He didn't just defend, he built a case for premeditated financial opportunism. Then he played our hand. "Your Honor, my client agrees to the change in primary physical custody." Susan and Jessica smirked. They thought they'd won. "However," he continued, "we contend that child support should be calculated based on the state's mandatory minimum guideline. The lifestyle Mr. My Last Name voluntarily provided went far beyond his legal obligation. Since that lifestyle was actively rejected, he should not be legally compelled to fund it." He presented the calculation. The state minimum, based on our incomes, was $480 a month, a pittance compared to what they wanted. Furthermore, he concluded, given that this entire legal action was based on demonstrable falsehoods intended to manipulate the court, we are petitioning for relief for my client's legal fees. The judge, a stern-looking woman, reviewed everything. Her ruling was a masterclass in judicial cold water. She gave Susan a blistering lecture on using the court system as a tool for vengeance. She granted the custody change. She ordered me to pay the state minimum of $480 per month, ending upon Jessica's 18th birthday. She denied the retroactive support. Finally, she addressed the legal fees. She didn't award me 100% of my fees, but she did find that the petition was largely frivolous and brought in bad faith, and ordered Susan to reimburse me for a significant portion of my costs, about $4,500 of the $6,000 I had spent. The silence on their side was deafening. Susan looked like she'd been punched. She had won custody of a resentful teenager and had not only failed to get her payday, but was now thousands of dollars in debt to me. Jessica finally looked up, and for the first time, I think she understood the magnitude of the consequences. The fallout was predictable. I get a check for my legal fees every month. I pay my $480 in child support. Jessica reached out a month ago. A text, "Can I come home?" It hurt to type my reply. "My home and my rules have always been here for you. Are you ready to accept them?" She replied, "But can I have my car back?" She still didn't get it. Denial is a powerful thing. My response was my final one. "The car is gone, Jessica. I told you that. The choice is about whether you want to be a part of this family, not what you can get out of it." She never replied. I hear through the grapevine she's working at a fast food place, saving money. Her mom makes her contribute to rent. She's living the consequences. Maybe one day it will forge her into a responsible adult, or maybe not. My house is quiet. I use the money from the car sale to remodel my kitchen. I've reconnected with old friends. I'm even dating someone new. Life is moving forward. It's a different life, with a Jessica-shaped hole that still aches, but it's a life free of manipulation. I didn't get a Hollywood ending. I got a real one, where justice wasn't a lightning bolt but the slow, grinding arrival of inevitable consequences. And for the first time in a very long time, I am at peace.